This is Religion in the News, sponsored by Wish TV, in cooperation with the Church Federation of Greater Indianapolis.
Good morning, Indianapolis. Welcome to Religion in the News. I'm Jeffrey Payne. Joining me today is Carol Sissom. We have a great show for you today as our guests talk about the love of animals, a program that trains young ladies to be queens, and a music minister using his gift to bless others. Stay tuned.
My guests today are Michael and Sally Delp, here to talk about the importance of saving lost animals. Welcome to Religion in the News.
Glad to be here, Carol.
Thank you so very much, and you brought a special guest today. Now, who is this?
This is Princess Panda Bear, and she was a shelter dog, and Sally and I adopted her about 6.5 years ago.
Now, tell us exactly who you are. You are a appointed law official,
yes, ma'am.
And with your wife. But explain to us how you got that position and what exactly you do.
I'm the animal warden of Johnson County, and I was appointed by the commissioners of Johnson County to enforce all federal, state, and local laws pertaining to animals and animal welfare. And so we make sure people take care of their animals, and we make sure people follow the laws. But we also want to help and educate individuals when it comes to taking care of their animals. So we'd like to help educate also.
Mm-hmm. And you've been doing this about 7 years?
Yes, ma'am, about 7 years.
Now tell us about your experiences. I know recently there was an arrest.
Yes, ma'am.
Tell us about that.
Well, we had an individual who allowed their animal to die from not having enough water in their kennel, that is a Class A misdemeanor under Indiana state statute, and the individual was incarcerated, and so that trial will be coming up sometime this fall.
Now, I know there was a key word there, allowed their pet.
Yes.
Is neglect of an animal something that is intentional, or just they weren't thinking?
Well, whether it's intentional or not, an individual has a responsibility to take care of their animals. And the law typically doesn't distinguish between necessarily was it intentional or did I just forget. There's really no distinction there. There's the responsibility that comes with animal ownership, and we're pretty strict when it comes to enforcing those laws.
Now, the two of you, you have an amazing love for animals.
Yes.
And could you just tell us the story, Sally, about how you got to have this part of your family?
Well, I got a phone call shortly after he got onto the animal control as an officer that we were going to have a guest overnight because she had come into the shelter with her brothers and they were scheduled to be put down, and he was going to bring her home just so we could love on her for a night before she had to go back to the shelter. But as it turned out, she's still with us. The next morning, we kept her that night, and the next morning I didn't know what to do with her, so I brought her into the bathroom while I showered, and as I was brushing my teeth, she just kind of crept over and laid down and put her head on my foot, and I told him we can't take her back. She's ours now.
Now, is this a regular thing? Does your husband bring home animals often and they stay? Or
no, and that was supposed to be one of the rules when he started. I said, please don't bring home any animals, but he brought her home, and she's just been so precious. And we have a small house, so we don't have room for a lot of dogs, so we have to be fair to her and take care of her and do our best with her.
And we fell in love with the breed. She's a Chow Chow, and so to kind of put our faith into action, so to speak, when we get a Chow Chow into the shelter, which is not very often, it's a rare breed, we like to assist with the adoption. We've actually paid for adoptions for Chow Chows. We've paid to have Chow Chows spay or neutered for individuals who would like to adopt one. So we're able to do that also. So even though we can't bring more animals into the house, we are able to help, and we do help individuals who are interested in Chow Chows.
Now, the two of you go to church. Where do you go to church?
Greenwood Christian Church.
And your faith. Now, tell me about faith and animals. I know you had mentioned in an earlier interview that. Tell us about animals that go to heaven, your opinion on that.
Well, I absolutely believe, and I think Scripture does support that animals, if they don't have souls, they certainly have spirits. And when an animal dies, I don't believe there's a conscious awareness of what's going on after death. However, I do believe that pets and extinct animals, say, will be resurrected by God in the end, in the new heaven and new earth, and that we will get to enjoy not only beloved pets that we've lost, but also we'll get to see the animals that have become extinct, but now we get to see them again. I think that's typical, would be typical or in character with a God who's a loving Father and who only wants the best for us.
Now, and what about Noah's Ark? So you believe that those animals that we'll see, or
yes, I believe that the animals that were on Noah's Ark and those types, that we'll get to see those again.
Now, I'm very curious. You also mentioned something about just your job. You have to use faith because it's so hard. Your position? Usually, people don't last because it's such a hard job.
Well, typically the lifespan for an animal control officer is about 2 to 3 years, and then emotional fatigue sets in. It's a very difficult job. Some of the things I see day in and day out really take a toll on you emotionally and physically. And my faith is something that keeps me going. And I look at this as a ministry also. And so I want to bring as much character and integrity to my position as I can. But I also want to be able to demonstrate my faith by helping animals, helping individuals who own animals and need some help. I want to be able to do that also.
Now tell us quickly, how does someone adopt an animal?
Oh, come to the animal shelter, Johnson County Animal Shelter, 2160 Graham Road in Franklin, or give us a call at 736-3924. That's area code 317-736-3924. You can adopt an animal for $115. That pays for everything, and we've got plenty of babies down there who are looking for a new home.
And I also, you wanted me to mention that you accept donations, specifically gas cards. If someone just wanted to come into the shelter and give a $5 gas card, how would that help?
Well, we have
or a $50.
Well, we have volunteers who donate their time and their talents and treasures to transport animals to rescues all across the country. And typically, our volunteers they bear every expense. And if someone's interested in helping get an animal across country to a rescue, to a forever home, if you'd like to donate a gas card for one of our volunteers, they would be happy to take that.
Awesome. Thank you so much, and thank you, Princess Panda Bear.
Thank you for having us.
Back to you, Jeff.
Thanks, Carol. My guests talk about how they're training young ladies to be queens right after this break. Welcome back. My guests today are Tracy Boyd and Stephanie Young, and they're here to talk about the upcoming Raising Queens Summit. Welcome to the show, ladies.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Good morning.
Good morning. Tracy, tell us about the Raising Queens Summit.
The Raising Queens Summit came about because Cynthia Newman, the author of the book, was inspired to write the book in tribute and honor to her mom, Ann Turner, who was able to successfully raise 5 girls with a lot of values and morals. The book will also frame coin a term called Mama-isms, and the Mama-isms were the value system that she helped to instill in the young ladies, or her young ladies, I'm sorry, about for example, it said it says, why would you buy the cow when you can have the milk? And so what that frame was, there was no room to shack up and live together.
Wow.
So
that principle and that book has pretty much started a movement.
In fact, it has. It has started a movement, exactly.
Wow. Now, with this summit, what's your position and how are you serving with this?
Okay, we have a committee of women that came together to support Cynthia when she felt like this was the vision and the direction that God was taking her to get involved and do something. And it was designed to help women, girls, and mothers to find the queen in them, exactly.
That is wonderful. Now, we also have Stephanie.
Yes.
And please tell us about your role and how you're helping with this summit.
Well, I am one of the members of the organizing committee. I think sometimes we serve as the executive board as well. And basically, Cynthia gets to tell us what to do, and we do it.
Exactly.
But it's been great, and I think we all share her vision, and we've had the opportunity to really see how some of the things that her mother really tried to instill in her can now be given to some of the other people in the community. I was fortunate enough to grow up with people that poured those types of things into me, and I know Tracy is as well. So the opportunity to provide that to other people is just one that we couldn't miss.
That is outstanding. So really, we're sharing the values that one mother gave to her daughters, and I'm sure other mothers across the country have tried to
Absolutely.
instill in their young ladies. And now you have an organization and now a summit that's going to help to spread this message and really focus in on these skills. Tracy, tell us, what can we expect at this summit?
Absolutely. We'll start off with prayer, invocation, and welcome, and we'll have a continental breakfast. And there's this latest craze called Zumba, and we have one of the Zumba gurus, Gina B. that will be in the house to kind of kick things off. And then we'll have panelists, and we will have workshops. We'll have a Where the King Speaks, where we'll hear from Cynthia's husband of 24 years, her king, Eric Newman. We'll hear from Bishop T. Garrett Benjamin and Terry Webster Jr. We have men at different seasons in their life, different ages, to give the insights and perspectives of what they expect and look for in a queen. And then we'll have Cynthia as a keynote speaker. We'll have some door prizes. We'll have high tea, don't want to forget that, where the ladies will have the opportunity to be fitted from our selection of hats. It's going to be a day of A to Z. They'll have a great experience where they'll be empowered, they'll be engaged, and they'll leave with some vision of what their dreams are and I guess determining what their dreams are, discover what their dreams are.
That is simply amazing. And such a huge and important event like this couldn't have been done by just one or two people. Stephanie, maybe you can let us in on who was involved in helping to put this together.
I hate to leave anyone out, but we've had just a tremendous pouring out of community partnerships, like from the Flanner House. We have supporters, Finch Constructors, our church. Both Cynthia and I attend Light of the World, and we've had lots of support from them. Nabisco, Panera, PepsiCo, you name it. I just don't want to leave anyone out. Creative Cakes and Catering, Indiana Regional Christian Church. It's been great. We've had an outpouring of support and continue to every day find more and more people who step up and want to be a part of this.
That is wonderful. Now, you mentioned Light of the World Christian Church, and that's where the event's being held. Is that correct?
Yes.
Very good. Now, you're also a member of New Beginnings, is that correct?
Absolutely. New Beginnings Fellowship Church, Pastor James Anthony Jackson.
Wonderful. And have they offered support for this as well?
Absolutely. We have been able to have Cynthia as a guest speaker in the past. When she first wrote the book, she came over and had a series with the young ladies, so we're very familiar with Cynthia. We've been able to help promote and encourage people to attend from our church and from our community on the far east side. So yes, we have been able to step up and partner with this as well.
Very good. Now, you do have that book, by the way. I'd like to see that.
Do.
We've been talking a lot about Cynthia Newman, and she has been a guest on our program before, and she authored this book, Raising Queens, Timeless Wisdom for Living as a Modern Day Queen. And this is something that we're really hoping that people can take advantage of and hear about, and that's the book right there. Well, ladies, we certainly appreciate you making time to be with us today, and we're hoping that people come out and take advantage of this. We do have information for those of you who are planning to go to the conference. Again, it's the Raising Queens Summit, and this will be on Saturday, August 27th from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. at Light of the World Christian Church, 4646 North Michigan Road in Indianapolis, Indiana. And you can actually email Cynthia Newman personally to get information at cynmedia@aol.com. And so once again, hoping that you all take advantage of the opportunity. And ladies, simply amazing. I've never heard of anything like this before, and I'm sure it's going to make a huge impact on the community. Thank you all so much, and best wishes on your endeavors.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you for having us.
Great. Carol, back to you.
My guests talk about the importance of music ministry in the church when Religion in the News returns.